guys glad to see them this Sunday morning? It's kind of funny that you did that because this convention has a little bit more of a family feel. Don't you guys feel than like a real like corporate dress events or
Scott and I are really related.
Yeah.
You guys cool? What's going on? Thank you all for coming out. I'm happy to see you guys.
Well, they're happy to see you, right, guys?
Hey, totally. I just want to say one thing. If you guys like have a question that's just burning, literally like just raise your hand right in the middle of our silly conversation. Just do it. Just because why not? Okay, cool.
I mean, and you know there's mics in the aisles, so you guys can go ahead and line up at the mics. We'll go through as many questions as you can, and while they're sort of lining up,
Or just literally raise your hand because we really don't even need these things, do we? Okay, cool.
We can do this however you want. You want them to raise their hands?
I'm gonna shut the fuck up now. Sorry for all the kids. I do encourage parents. I apologize. So I'm not too far up from it.
No, Milo, you better not be quiet because everybody's here to see you. So.
Cool. Thanks, Scott.
I was brushing up on my Gilmore Girls facts, and it was really funny. I read this article that came out a couple years ago by the casting director, and Scott, they said you were actually the only person to audition for the role.
Everyone else in town was like, yeah, he's gonna go to Scott.
They said, I mean, in this article, casting said you came in, you gave the performance, you were so lovable. I guess you had a flannel on, I don't know if you remember. And they were just like, you know what? Mic drop, we don't need to see anyone else. Do you remember anything about the audition?
That I felt I had no chance of getting it because film actors were crossing over and doing TV, like named film actors were doing a lot of television at that time.
Kevin Bacon audition.
Right, exactly. No, and that's basically who you think was going to be in the waiting room. It's all, like you go and see all these named people, and you're like, well, I don't have a shot. They all want names. I prepared only one scene. They wanted two. I wasn't aware that they wanted two. It was the second audition of the day, and I had Carmen Electra waiting for me to play a fembot, and I would be her husband who operated her. And the script.
Hold on, do you guys remember Carmen Electra? Okay, good. Respect to Carmen, sorry.
No, I mean, and the script actually wasn't that bad, which is the funniest part about it. So I had illegally parked on Sepulveda. I was in a rush. I didn't want to be bothered with these people, although I was pleasant. And I kind of had that dumb courage of the truly burnout, because I was sick of nailing auditions, and Milo knows what this is like. Going in and being great in the room, and the feedback is, we love him. He nailed it, but we're going with a name, and that kind of. So I've been hearing that for years, and by the time I got home, before about 5 o'clock, I had the job, but it was just a guest star role in the pilot. It wasn't a series regular, and we kind of held out during the period after the pilot was done, because they offered 2 shows, we said no, offered 4 shows, we said no, and it reminded me of my friend who turned down River Runs Through It because they didn't offer him enough money.
Do you guys remember that movie, River Runs Through It? Oh my God!
So this is Robert Redford directed, produced, Brad Pitt starring, genius film that, you know, it really helped Brad's career. And it was early in Brad's career. And this guy turned it down, and he wasn't doing very well. So as I was jogging one day, I thought, am I going to be that guy who said no to an obviously, very charming series that was going to go 5 years, I thought, minimum. But that's kind of how it was. But in the room, it was all great. I really, you walk into rooms and you vibe people, and and they felt right. It just felt right, like the right kind of people.
Yeah, and Milo, what about you? Do you have a specific memory of like reading the pilot, approaching?
They offered it to me right away. Sorry, Scott. No, actually, no, that's not what happened at all. I went in for an audition though, and it's so funny, like that's my face right there with you, and it's just like, you're showing it to us. So no, I went in for an audition, and then when I got the call saying, you did great, we want you as a regular. And I was like, oh, cool. And like, you're playing Scott's nephew, you guys have a lot of work together. I was like, oh, fuck, that's great. I love his work. And so then, I remember my mom was a huge fan of the show. Like, my mom loved it. I joined the second season, and my mom really loved the first season. And so when I knew I was going to be a regular, I'm like, this is cool. So I called my mom And I'm like, hey mom. She's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, so I had an audition today. Oh, what'd you audition for, honey? And I said, oh, I auditioned for a show called Gilmore Girls. She goes, oh, I love that show. I'm like, yeah, I know you do. She goes, well, how did it go? I go, oh, it was great. I got the job. Oh, that's great. You gonna do an episode? I said, I'm gonna be a regular. Dead silent. And then it was one of those things where I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, it was such a critically acclaimed show. Like I said, I've been a fan of Scott's work and what everyone's doing, and Amy and Dan, their writing. And then, when I got on set, it felt like I was in grad school. Like the pace that we had to keep up in the actual words and the performance and acting. But then also, for me, thank God, I was working with Scott all the time, because he cares about the craft and the business. And sorry, say hi to you guys over here too. He cares about acting. And so I was like, great, I got a scene partner that I can give everything to, and he's gonna give everything to me, and we, have this like amazing friendship and family relationship on the show for several years. So it was great.
Well, I mean, the show, it seems like all those relationships were cultivated by personal relationships between the actors as well. I mean, I think that's part of the reason that made it so accessible in a way.
I think that's any show though. It's like, you do have to, it's funny, there's this thing where people say, oh, it's like a family. Families can be good, families can also be bad. But I think what you have to do is find that common ground. You have to find that commonality with people and put your heart into it and put the work into it. And we find when sometimes people don't want to put their heart in or their work in, you're like, I'm just not going to deal with that person. You got to bring your energy around others that are there to like make something awesome. Hey guys, coming in late. This is Scott Patterson. I'm Milo Ventimiglia. Come on in.
Plenty of room. Now we're in.
You guys got any questions or anything? What's up?
Hi, so I grew up watching Gilmore Girls, and I've always been Team Jess and Team Luke. And one of my
Can I
favorites.
ask a silly question?
Of
Where
course.
the fuck are there no jerseys? When did it become a sports thing? Why can it be, hey, I like Jess, hey, I like Luke? Why is it Team Jess?
Why is it a competition?
Yeah,
I mean, there is no
Of course,
competition.
hold on.
of course it's Luke.
But I go, but here's the thing. If Matt and Zupri were up here, it'd be like Team Logan. Hey, listen, Matt is a wonderful actor, an amazing human being, and his character was an asshole, but still. Love Matty Zupri.
But, so one of my favorite scenes in the entire series is when Luke pushes Jess in the lake.
One take.
So my question was, what is your guys' favorite scenes?
Oh, you go first.
I have 3.
Okay.
And I think 2 of my favorites are also his favorites. Go
No,
ahead.
I have 3 favorite scenes. You mean of just working with him or
In
the
general.
entire show?
In general.
Okay, I have 3, they're all with him. Okay, so that's it. So the first one is in the revival, when I have the flower on me and we sit down and we have that scene. It's rare on that show that you get to act a little bit. And I got to act with Milo. And it's a joy. It's one of the great joys of being on that show is having a friend and actually being able to act with somebody who's listening to me. The second one was pushing in the lake because I just thought it's such an iconic thing. And we never got to do anything.
And
physical.
the scene leading up to it was that really great scene.
Right.
He did all the talking, I just kind of mumbled as Jess does.
30 takes on that. And
30
1 take
takes.
on the push.
Which, by the way, if you guys go back and watch that episode, Jess walks out of school, they walk, talk, they're about to cross the street, a bus crosses through. We shot that a whole different day. And then we picked it up when we're walking again and he pushes me. So 30 takes before the bus, 1 take after.
And then my favorite scene is the sledgehammer. Here's your room, and with the punk rock music going, we're gonna hold hands and skip and the whole thing. It just defined everything about Luke, and it defined everything about our relationship. Tough love, but don't mess with me, but I love you, you're here, but you do the work.
You know what was one of my favorites with Scott, and I don't remember the words. I remember his line, his parting line. It was when Jess was kind of being like a real ornery, like shithead, and it was every day. But he was really on the nerves of his uncle, and he was taking for granted he was living his uncle, whatever. And they got this big argument, And I remember Luke was saying something about like, you gotta do better, you gotta do better, you gotta do better. And they got this massive argument in the apartment, and then Luke says, well, you gotta go. And then Jess leaves. That was actually one of my favorite scenes we ever shot. Because again, we were speaking at such a rate, and sometimes the words, you forget that they really carry meaning and have meaning. But that was one of those moments we were allowed to really let the impact of what was said land and settle.
Right.
And I remember as the character feeling so wounded and angry and embarrassed and all of this, and then they call cut, you walk away, and then you're just all smiles like, that went fucking great.
Thank you so much.
So that tells you the importance of feeling comfortable with the other actor. You know, you can be all of that. And now I remember that scene. That was intense, wasn't it?
That was super intense.
Yeah, that was.
We were all over the whole ring. You were chasing me. I was doing something. I was in the fridge. I was on the table.
So
packing shit up.
half the time I was at Warner Brothers, I was trying to get in Amy's office to get him more scenes with him. It's like enough with everybody else.
The best work I did on that set was always with Scott.
Oh, without a doubt.
Thank you.
And there's a reason for that.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi.
First of all, I want to thank you guys both for coming. This is like a dream of mine to meet both of you.
Cool, thank you.
She totally took my question. I went a little bit.
Thank you very much. Cheyenne. I'm kidding, sorry.
One of Luke's iconic lines is to Taylor. Damn it, Taylor. Scott, can I get that line from you?
Now, hold on a second. Hold on a second. How many years ago was that?
I mean, he says it in the revival too.
And how many years ago was that?
You know what? I'll kind of adjust that question a little bit. You mentioned the revival. You mentioned Scott.
I need to go to the bathroom.
I want you guys don't know. He's like, man, you just made the man shit.
In all seriousness, what was it like to revisit the characters after the series had ended, and you never know if you're gonna have the chance to.
Going back was a bit strange. For y'all, you guys get to see the show in its finality. We experienced making it. So back in the day, 17 years ago, when the show first started was 18 years ago. It was a long time ago. Like, people are like, oh, what was that, your favorite moment of that? I'm like, what the fuck is your favorite moment from 17 years ago? Were you born 17 years ago? Were you 5? Anyhow, you're making this show, and you're making it with this certain group of people, and there's a certain energy, and there's things that are going on in the world and everything, and you're experiencing it at that given moment. So when you revisit something and you go back, yeah, it's Scott and I speaking Dan and Amy's words. Yeah, the girls are there, Jackson's there, like a bunch of people are there. It's a whole different crew, and the world is a different place. And you're trying to capture this energy, which you only kind of grabbed way back in the day, like 17 to 10 years ago. It was running for 7 years. And it's difficult. So it's a tough thing when you go back, and I know you guys get excited, like, is there gonna be more? And I'm like, I really doubt it. Because like Miss Maisel's kind of amazing, and that's successful. But at the same time, like, it's lightning in a bottle. And Scott could probably attest to this. You get those moments and like, you can't repeat it. You really can't recreate it. It happens at a certain time in life. And so what you have to do almost from our side, but also I always ask the audience, I'm like, you guys gotta just appreciate that you got the show and that little fucking slice of dessert at the end was 4 revivals. And just be cool with that.
Absolutely.
That's not what she knows.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So this is somewhat of a stupid question, but music is a big part of my life. So if you guys had to pick one song to be your theme song, what would you pick?
In their personal life?
Yes.
A theme song or favorite song?
It's the hardest fucking question I've ever been asked. Second to you, what was your favorite moment from 17 years ago? Scott, if you were on a deserted island, would you have your guitar?
What about you? What's your theme song?
Probably Wait For It from the Hamilton album.
From who?
Hamilton.
Hamilton?
Oh, the musical Hamilton. Oh, cool.
That's a good one.
Mine would probably be.
I was gonna say, is it horrible that your song is like, they literally like, Cheyenne, like, wait for it. It's gonna take me a year to come up with an answer. Just wait for it.
You know what? You guys can answer on Twitter later. You can ask them again and tag them, and they'll have some time to think about it.
Maybe.
I'm gonna say Ziggy Stardust from David Bowie.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I know you guys are like, that's like when you guys old enough to remember like the warehouse and CD stores? Cool. You guys know how you used to like walk in, you have a list of shit you wanted to get? And you're like, great, I'm gonna get this album, this one, that one. And you're like, this is great. And then you get there, you reach in your pocket, like, I forgot the goddamn list. Anytime questions like that, I forgot what my favorite song is.
Hi.
I'm Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. This is Scott on Milo. Everybody say hi to Amanda. Brad, what's up?
Okay, so in another world, if Jess was sent to Jack Pearson instead of Luke to raise, how would Jack have handled Jess's issues, and how would Jess have fit in with the triplets?
Well, here's the thing. There are no alternate worlds. Jess was raised by Luke. And I think Jess came out really well adjusted. I think it was perfect for Jess to be, in his uncle's home for several years. I think that was amazing. Jack was a man of, born in the 40s, grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, had his kids in the 80s. Jess is more of a 90s kind of kid. I don't know. I got no fucking clue. You can tell I'm stalling. But as Cheyenne says, wait for it.
Thank you so much. Great question. Thank you. Hi.
Can you actually photograph and film at the same time as asking the question? I just want to know, can you?
Yes.
Are you
They
asking
have a
me?
lot of experience.
Great.
I had the pleasure of being with you guys in Austin 4 years ago for the big reunion that kind
Oh
of.
yeah, South by Southwest. Yeah, cool.
ATX, but.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
That was better.
Welcome back to Texas. I wanted to know from each of you, Scott, what you think Jess's best quality is, and Milo, what you think Luke's best quality is.
I think Luke's best quality is patience.
That's a good answer. I like that.
You think I'm joking? I'm so not. Honestly, I swear to God, I think Luke's best quality is patience, because Jess was just a little shit. But like, Luke can't hit him. That's not right. But like, he was just like this pain in the ass, and I think Luke had to be patient with Jess, and I think Jess finally came around. So
Yeah, but you played the role, so it didn't matter what a pain in the ass the character was. I just kind of liked being with you. It's like, cool. No, that character was, that's like Jack Kerouac and Marlon Brando had a kid. And, I get to hang out with it, which is cool, because that's kind of how I was when I grew up. I was kind of Jess-like. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another great question. Thank you. Hi. You look great.
Hey, thanks. So we loved y'all in Gilmore Girls, but I'm curious what you are doing right now that you're excited about, that we can see you in.
You do know Milo's on another show, right?
No, that's cool. I'll talk about it. So I got this little show on NBC called This Is Us. I play a guy named Jack, who's a father of triplets. Siblings, 3 siblings, 1 adopted baby boy, and 2 twins. And he's just a dad. He's just a dad, he's a good dad, he's a good husband, and it's a good show.
Very good show. Yeah. When you read the pilot, did you know that was going to have the type of, just accessibility to an audience and just the heart, I guess you could say?
What I loved about the pilot episode for This Is Us, it was a show for everyone, about everyone. It didn't matter how old you were, how young you were, where you were from, what you had or didn't have. It didn't matter. It was a show for everyone, about everyone. It was about being human. It was about being in a family. It was about being a brother and a sister and a husband and a wife and a friend and a co-worker and just all this stuff without, I guess being like navel gazing, you know, like looking down at things and like, this is exactly what it is. It was a slice of life that I know when I read it, I loved it, and it was beautiful. And I think that's what people picked up on, is a story about us, all of us, every single person in this room, every single person that we know, every single person that we're never gonna meet. It's just a story about people, and I thought it was beautiful and lovely.
Yeah, I love it.
Here's what's interesting about This Is Us. My first ever agent from the William Morris Agency back in the late 80s is a woman named Laura Fogelman. And she signed me out of an acting class on the Upper East Side.
Dude, she was my commercial agent.
Yeah, no, I know. And she talked about you before I even knew who you were. And her nephew created This Is Us.
Dan
Her
Fogelman.
nephew, she always talked about her nephew who was doing so
Danny.
good in school and he was doing so great at college. And then all of a sudden, her nephew wrote Cars. Her nephew wrote all of these fantastic films, giving voices to inanimate objects and making it really compelling. So when I heard that Milo was working with Dan Fogelman, I thought, that's going to be a very, very good collaboration. Because it's a collaborative art that we do, and you can have great actors and sort of so-so writers, and it's not going to fly. I've been in a couple of those things, and vice versa, right? With the wrong cast and great writing, it's going to mess it up. But this was going to be sort of this magical configuration, and I'm not surprised at the success and very proud of my nephew, who's working with, my TV nephew, who's working with, well, Laura's since passed on to her nephew, and it's a great success and a great testament to both of them.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. Hi.
Milo, it was a great surprise to see you at the end of Creed 2.
Oh yeah.
What do you think that Robert and Rocky talked about once you let them inside?
It's a good
Maybe
question.
like hats and pasta or something. It's so funny. I mean, you know, when I joined Balboa now 15 years ago, I knew I was going to be a part of like the legacy, you know, because the Balboa franchise was just like this massive legacy, but I never really expected to be involved beyond that. So to go back to Creed 2 and even be kind of mentioned in a sideways way from the first Creed, like this is fun. This is a funny thing about Sylvester Stallone. He remembers, he's crazy intelligent, he's very funny, he's a really great guy. But in the first Creed, when Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis asks him, he goes, "Hey, where's your son?" And Balboa answers, "Oh, he's got a good job in Vancouver. He's working in Vancouver." I was doing a fucking TV show in Vancouver. I was like, wait, and I saw the movie with my own mom and dad on like Christmas Eve. I'm like, wait. I wonder if Sly asked everybody, "Hey, yo, where's the kid at?" And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, he's in Vancouver. He's doing a job in Vancouver." But that's Sylvester Stallone. I have no idea what they would have talked about. You know, in my heart of hearts, I hope they just kind of repair whatever amiss they had as father and son. Really communication, just, you know, we could all try to be a little more patient and communicative and understand maybe what someone's going through on the other side of the conversation or life. You know, hopefully that will make our lives better. I don't know, hopefully they just kind of talked and hung out and saw past differences or time or anything, and that's the best thing we can do as people, is understand what someone else is going through and help them along in their journey. Wow, I just got really fucking self-conscious about what I was saying. But just, hey, if we could all just like be good people and talk, that'd be great.
We agree. Thank you so much. Hi.
Hi. My question to Milo is, from the different roles that Jack plays, which has taught you the most in the personal level, and how and in what way? As the roles of being a father, husband, brother, or son?
Or Sonny Bono in Halloween costume. No, really. Sonny Bono in Halloween. I'm kidding. Jack is a good man. He's got a good heart. He's got good intentions. The way he does things isn't always the best way, but he tries. What I love about Jack, he's a real life superhero. He's an attainable superhero. He's that guy that anyone can look up to. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, anything. Put your heart in the right place You know, love the people that you're there to serve, your family, your loved ones, your friends, the family you make, the family you're born into, as well as the family you create amongst your friends and all that. That's what I love about Jack Pearson. He really embraces that. And I think he got taken away from life young, but I think because he served what he needed to serve in his life, he left behind this legacy of love, this like real desire to love deeply. And it gets me emotional thinking about it, because I think it's a reminder of what we all have to do, not only for each other, but also for ourselves. We really need to love ourselves. If you love yourself wholly, well, then you can love other people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was obviously a huge component to the show, the fire, the death. When did you realize that was going to be introduced into the storyline?
Well, I knew Jack was dead from the beginning. I mean, Scott even knew Jack was dead from the beginning. But I thought it was a great device, you know, where you're tying this family together. And I think it was episode 5, season 1, Justin Hartley, who plays Kevin. He had this great speech where he's talking to his nieces, Tess and Annie, and he's talking about these paintings that he makes before every job, every movie or TV show that he does. And he's explaining that it's just a mess, you know, and like, we're in the painting before we were even born, and we're in the painting after we all died. It's like we're always part of the painting, so it's kind of this like bigger universal thing. So even though Jack is deceased in the present day, he's still part of the story. He's not going anywhere. You know, it's like, I mean, we think about our own lives, our loved ones that we've lost, our friends, our family, and they're gone, but you know, when like you can still feel someone's presence, or you talk about them, so that therefore they're still there. I think that's the greatest part about Jack too, and I think that was his purpose, was to remind people that life is so much bigger than just the physically being there. It's like you got to make an impact in others, that we're going to carry on that legacy in life and hopefully impact for the positive if we can. God, man, I'm really getting deep today.
You are so deep. It's okay. It's
Somebody asked me a
Sunday.
dumb,
It's
silly
Sunday.
question. What did Scott have for breakfast?
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So I'm sorry, it's not a dumb, silly question, but I was wondering, you know, she kind of asked lessons that you learned from This Is Us, and I was just kind of wondering, like, what lessons did the two of you learn about yourselves doing Gilmore Girls and from your characters on Gilmore Girls?
Still learning. God, how do I say this without saying it?
Just say it. Luke would just say it. So just say it.
This is Scott.
But I'm not Luke.
That's fair enough. Fair
And I
enough.
don't want to be Luke.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The people are more important than the characters. Milo's more dear to me than his character. He's an extraordinary person, and that's how we can play that character. He can show charity to Jess or Jack. He's coming from an informed place. Okay? And I'm starting to get deep too. That's about as deep as I get, so don't worry about it. I like Milo so much that I learned from him. He's got lessons for me, and I'm 20 years older than he is. And when he first came, he looked different. He was a kid, but he was always so well-grounded. And he always had a purpose. He knew how to treat people, and it wasn't manipulative, it was just because of who he is. So he applied this kind of ethic to his business and really how he lives his everyday life. So when he came on set, it was this breath of fresh air like you cannot even imagine. Because we're all in there beating the hell out of each other.
And also, really, just to like add to that, on that set, you know, you're getting an 80-page script the day before you start shooting, and you have to be dead on with the words. And the words are written beautifully. But listen, I'm not that smart, so it's really difficult for me to learn 80 pages in like the drop of a hat. There's a lot to expect of actors. So I think Scott's saying like it's a breath of fresh air to be able to have like a different point of view perspective. Sometimes the spinning cyclone of production goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and you can get caught up in it, in the centrifuge of it, and it grows in speed too.
Right.
You know, like the juggernaut.
Right, but anything that they've heard about tension on the set between certain actors or me and Lauren or all that stuff. Do you know what happens on a set? You go into a private rehearsal, okay, with the director before the crew comes in to light it. That's how it works. So you come in with ideas. And sometimes, after 18 hours and 6 years or 4 years of this, you want to get your way because you're protecting your character. And that's the integrity of what an actor brings to the role. Luke wouldn't do that. Luke wouldn't sit over there. Luke wouldn't do this with his arm. Luke wouldn't pour a cup of coffee on that line. And maybe that doesn't jive with what she's doing or he's doing or whatever. And there's a way that people go at it. And sometimes, yeah, it gets contentious, but it's not personal. It's just actors protecting their characters. Studios protect characters. Why can't we protect our own characters? We know them better than anybody, except maybe Amy or somebody else. So Milo would come in, and it would be this completely different private rehearsal where, and he says he's not smart. Ha ha ha. Really funny. Okay, so he knew exactly what was going down in the scene, what needed to take place in the scene, and he was nice to everybody about it. So we all just went, yeah, that's good. And it turned out to be like some of the best work that we all did. And it's just kind of nice to be in the presence of somebody who's so confident and so prepared. Prepared is a big word because of the massive scripts and the massive amounts of dialogue. You come onto that set and you don't know your lines, you're gonna have a problem with me. Because I don't wanna be there 18 hours when I can be there only 14 hours. You know what I mean? Because I gotta do it again the next day. He hit the ground talking. Because he knew his lines. And that's a big deal.
When I was in college, I had an acting professor. I went to school at UCLA, and I had a professor after this scene that I did. I think it might have been from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof or something like that. It was a scene that I put up for a final. And I remember my teacher, she wrote a note to all of us at the end of it. And I saved this letter. There was the one thing, prized possession of mine from college. And I'm paraphrasing, forgive me, but I remember she said to me, put love into every character that you play. And I thought that was so remarkable because we don't always play the good guys, and sometimes we play the bad guys. But no matter what, if we're humanizing them, they're going to have a different view and scope of love. And so what did I learn from being on set? Was kind of what Scott was saying. If you put that love into being present on set, no matter where you are. And by the way, this is the best part about it. This doesn't just apply to us that wear makeup and read lines for a living. This kind of applies to everybody. If you put love into what it is you're doing, or who it is you're with, or anybody that you kind of come across, and I'm not talking romantic love, I'm talking human being love. I'm talking about human being respect. I'm talking about that attention to the life that is out there that we are around. And it could be a tree or it could be a human being we've never met before. You put love into something, it's always going to be a positive experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I'm a theater major, so it's really awesome.
Sorry. Oh,
I'm
you
a
are?
theater
Oh,
major,
good.
yeah, so it's awesome to
Okay.
hear you guys talk about acting.
Yes,
You
all
want
day
it?
long.
You want a tip?
Yes, please.
You should play horrible characters. Why? Okay, if you were to play and you're a woman.
Can't wait to see where you're going.
Let me ask you something, and I'm sure you've heard this from your teachers, but if you were to play Adolf Hitler, how would you approach the role?
You have to find the hero. He didn't think that he was wrong.
No, exactly. He thought he was Jesus.
Yeah.
So you have to play it that way.
Right.
And you can't apologize for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck
Teacher.
with your career.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. Hi. I actually don't like to record interactions, but my dad's going to kill me if I don't. I have brought him onto the bandwagon of This Is Us. He does not binge watch TV. He's very old-fashioned, and now he cries every time he watches, and he hates me for it.
Hold on, wait 1 second. Where's your dad? Point him out. Raise your hand, sir.
He's not here, but
Okay.
he actually dropped me off so I wouldn't have to pay for parking or walk far. That's how he's totally about this.
He's a good dad.
He's a very good dad. So he has a lot of Jack Pearson qualities and all of that. But yeah, so I'm gonna say sappy stuff, and then my question's gonna be funny. But yeah, the thing I love about any actor, I think what makes them great is when they can make you hate them, but also make you love them. Like I hated Jess, like he was that bad boy that like we all need to stay away from.
You tell he wanted to lay on a tree and read books with him, didn't you?
Yeah. But like Jack,
Grab him by his fucking leather coat and like run your hands through his pompadour. Right? Get it? I wanted to do the same thing.
Jack Pearson, like I just want to like save him from the fire, and like I wanted so much for him. So the fact that you can do that, I think it's phenomenal. Because
Thank you very much.
My question.
Okay.
What is the funniest, both for everyone? What is your funniest or craziest fan interaction that you've had in the last few years?
You want to talk about stalkers and shit? Actually, no, you won't. But I do want to address though what you were saying about like actors falling into their characters. Our jobs as actors is to make you believe the experience we're going through so much that you think that Jack is real or Jess is real. That is the joy in being an actor. Is I get to disappear. Scott gets to disappear. It's when you see him, you're like, Luke, and it's like, Scott. So that is always the biggest compliment too. When I've had people, maybe this goes into a fan interaction, I've had someone back in the day, I think it was my first couple episodes of Gilmore had aired, and some gal walked up to me at the gym and she goes, hey, you're on Gilmore Girls. I go, yeah. She goes, you play Jess? I go, yeah, hey, and she goes, I fucking hate you. And then I got a really big smile on my face because I knew, I'm like, Jess is he's a motherfucker. And I was like, cool, then I'm doing my job. Thank you very much. That was a great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks. Hi.
Harry Potter, everyone. Harry Potter.
Okay, so my mom is basically binge watched Gilmore Girls a lot. She's seen all the revivals, but there's one thing that always got to her mind was, and her question was, will there ever be a reboot of Gilmore Girls to find out whose baby Rory is carrying?
Don't know, but it's not Jess's.
I know who the father is. It's either Mike Tyson or Al Sharpton. Guaranteed.
Wow.
And there you have it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And you look great.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Milo.
Hey.
So one of my favorite moments from This Is Us is when Randall is having anxiety attacks. You grab his face and you say, just breathe. So last season we learned the origin of it when you were in Vietnam. So my question
Great actor, Mo McRae.
Yes, so my question
You guys
is.
know Mo?
Yes.
Fucking fantastic.
He was on Pitch, which I loved.
He was on Pitch, and now he's on a new show, Sorry. Almost Family on Fox. It's got Brittany Snow and Emily Osment. Yeah, Mo's on that.
So my question is, the origin of that moment, did you know that like at the beginning of the season, or did you just find that out?
No, so this is actually really funny. So that was something that I think the first time I did it, scripted, was with Niles Fitch, who plays Teenage Randall. By the way, that kid is phenomenal. Love Niles. And it was scripted that he was freaking out, I think in the basement, and Jack takes him, by the face, just breathe. I didn't realize, but I had been doing that with all three of the kids for the whole, I think several episodes or season before. I would literally grab them by the face in different moments, or kind of tug on their ear or something. Just being a dad, because that's like dad shit, right? And then I think they built that in. So I don't know where it came from in the writer's room, but I had been doing it, a version of it, before it was even scripted. But I think again, and Scott can probably attest to this, when you have amazing writers, the work as an actor is so much better. Like, I know everybody kind of gives all the glory and whatnot, so a lot of the times to the actors, but really it's all about what the writers are creating and giving us as actors to perform. So, I give all credit to Dan Fogelman and all of our writers in the room, because they're really just creating those beautiful big moments. And then tying it together from seasons 1 to 2 to 3, where you see where Jack gets it from. And he gets it from his buddy in Vietnam in a fucking tough situation. His friend just got his leg blown off, and he grabs Jack by the face and says, breathe. I mean, what a powerful, simple thing. I think even Mo McRae, who played Robinson, the lines to Jack were, when he's talking about his mom, he said, you know, we would be so scared we're gonna die, we forgot about doing that thing that keeps us alive. I don't know, do you guys ever get in a tense situation, you hold your breath? Then you get in another tense situation, you're breathing through it, and you're calm, and you actually got a sound mind? Yeah, breathe.
Thank you. Thank you. And we have time for just a couple more questions. We'll go over here. Hi.
Real fast, what's up?
Hi. So I got a question for one of each row. For Milo, since the character of Jess is an avid reader, are you one
more time, say that again?
Since the character of Jess is an avid reader, are you one as well? And if so, what are your some of your favorite books that you've read?
I read every book that Jess read except for The Fountainhead, because Ayn Rand as fuck I can.
And then for Scott, how would Luke feel about Rory being pregnant? And how would you imagine Luke and Lorelai's life would be after the revival?
I think that Luke is, regarding the pregnancy question, Luke is at this very moment opening up a giant can of whoop ass. And what was, and the same question, part of the question.
How are Luke and Lorelai doing after being married now?
Well, if I'm in the writer's room, we're trying to have kids. This is what needs to happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi.
Okay, earlier you guys asked for a dumb, silly question.
Rad, you're our girl. What's your name?
Jerry. My go-to drink is apple teas. What are your
Water. Yeah, I'm serious, I'm not fucking around. Water. What's wrong with water?
Water solves everything. Makes you
Water's
feel
amazing.
better.
What's up, girl?
Yeah.
Hi. So, over the course of Gilmore Girls, Jess is a terrible person. In general, I'm just throwing it out there. Do you think you know like the origin of where that comes from? Like, why would he be like that?
You know, we kind of got a little bit of that. You know, it was season 3, episode 21, where Jess goes to visit his father in Venice Beach. And you started to understand a lot of pain that Jess went through, like really feeling abandoned. You know, I think, again, that's Jess. The sense of, I need to look out for myself, and Jess was crazy smart. But he also was a very wounded child because he felt abandoned by his father. You know, those people that are around that are supposed to love us and protect us and supposed to teach us and all these things, like he felt abandoned. But Jess was also so smart that he never thought he needed people. But what he realized later on is he did need people.
Yeah,
We as people need people, so.
Rory really fixed that for Jess, I feel.
I think Rory helped Jess to understand. Rory was never out to fix Jess. She was there to help him understand what he needed to figure out in his life.
Thank you.
Do you know why? I want to add something. Do you know why? How old are you?
14.
You're 14. Okay. So
You're awesome.
One of the most important elements of Gilmore Girls is obviously parenting. There's parenting all through that. And there's nothing more important. And you're 14 and you don't know yet how angry a boy can get when his father rejects him. Or his father doesn't handle him in the right way. And that is the root of all violence against other men, against women. And that is what that character was. It was a byproduct of parenting gone awry or gone askew in some way.
Yeah,
And that's really what makes the world go round.
Luke seemed like a good father figure.
He's a very good father figure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And our last question over here. Hi.
Hi. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you for Scott making Forgotten Hero, the song, for Smith Radio Band. My husband has PTSD. He's an Army veteran and went on 3 tours. And I was just asking Milo for Jack, do you think he was a veteran with PTSD?
Oh yeah, no, the whole season 3 of This Is Us. Have you seen season 3 yet?
I have, but I don't.
So you know that he was in the Vietnam War?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
No, my husband kept saying, he's really into This Is Us because of the veteran part of it. But he was like, I believe he has PTSD, but.
Men of that era were not allowed to have post-traumatic stress disorder. They were not. That was something that's very new, you know, and I think we as a culture are starting to understand that. My father's a Vietnam veteran. His best friends died over there. I visited his best friends' names on the wall in DC when we filmed in DC with Niles, filming all stuff at Howard University. It's a very real thing, and I've got several friends in active duty as well as veterans that have seen some really, war is fucking horrible. It's really a horrible, horrible thing. And yes, I do believe Jack had PTSD. There's no way you can walk away from war, whether you were a mechanic as he says he was, or like really seeing some like horrible stuff, like the real truth of war, and not change, and not be impacted. But men of that generation, they would bury it, and it would eat them alive. Yeah, there's a sense of, I'm sorry, Scott, there's like a sense of, you know, pride, and also like, as a man, like you want to be able to shoulder the weight of all this stuff that you see. You don't want to put it on your loved ones. I think that's what Jack was doing for years. We see him white knuckling with the drinking. Yeah. I think the drinking is probably because of his father and what he saw his brother going through, what he personally went through in war. You know, it's tough, but if we could ever learn anything, these are human experiences no matter what. Some of us are equipped to handle it, and some of us aren't, but that doesn't mean that makes us any less of a man, or a person, or a service member, or anything.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for both of you for having a song about a veteran that has PTSD and portraying a man that has PTSD.
I'll tell you the little brief story about how that song came about. When I was living in New York in the late 80s and studying acting and had a little theater company there, I was doing a play called, it was a Vietnam veteran. He was 19, 20 years old, and he was in his room, and it was Thanksgiving. I think it wasn't coming home, it was something like that. And I had to do some real field research on it because I'm not a Vietnam veteran. So every day I would go to the same little deli and buy coffee and buy cigarettes when I used to smoke cigarettes, which I don't anymore. And there was this guy there, and I talked to him, and he had this glazed look in his eyes. His name was Bob, and he was a Vietnam veteran. And the story was, his brother died in his arms in a foxhole over there. He had sustained a head injury. He was in a VA in San Francisco for a couple of years. They let him out. He ended up in New York City, and he had no business being outside of the facility. He just had, he had the 1,000-yard stare, which is just complete, clear, beautiful blue eyes, but they didn't move. And he told me that his job was now to end all pain. He was going to save the world through it. So and I got to know him. And the thing is over the years, and I gave him a job, he'd come to my apartment, and I'd give him some food, I'd give him a shower and clothes. Over the years, as he would regain his cognitive ability, he became far less interesting a person because he had wild imagination. It was fascinating to listen to him, but he was in real trouble, and he got better and better and better over the years. And the last time I saw him, he was working in a McDonald's around the corner from the apartment. I was living on Fifth Avenue, down by NYU, and that song was for Bob.
Well, it describes my husband.
Yeah.
Every single part of it. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, thank him personally for me for his service and
Absolutely. Thank you. And unfortunately, guys, we are out of time. Did you guys enjoy this?